Hi, hi everybody, or hi folks that are joining. Can you hear me? I'm on a new computer.
Yes.
Okay, great. And just getting a few other things set up real quick. Hi, hi everyone. Welcome to our coffee break. I'm just getting a few things set up. Um, okay, and I think we'll give it another minute or so because we had a lot of RSVPs, which is great. And so I don't know if everyone will show up, but if they do, then we'll have a pretty full house, which is exciting. We'll share. Actually, I think, yeah, I'll share that for now. Okay. And can folks see my screen, the welcome slide? Cool. Really confident in my screen sharing skills at this point, but still need to ask. I think we'll give it just another minute since some folks are still arriving. We're in a very cold spell here in the Willamette Valley, which is kind of unusual for us. It hasn't rained, gosh, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe going on 2 weeks now. It's very dry and very cold, and we're not used to it. But we have had a lot of sun, which is also nice and what we're not used to. So, okay. Well, I think we'll get started then because we've got a lot of folks here, a lot of newish names, I think. And so I think we'll have kind of a full meeting between some introductions and then a couple discussion questions I came up with. For those that are new or haven't joined us before, I'm Alexis Larson, and maybe I'll rename myself. Um, I'm the Plant Materials Program Director at the Institute for Applied Ecology. And we previously had a Native Seed Network coordinator, Liz Olson, who was coordinating these meetings, but we lost all of that funding, that federal funding in the fall. And so she's no longer at IAE, unfortunately, and Morgan and I are kind of taking on these partnerships. And thankfully, the South Dakota State University Native Plant Initiative Group, which is Laura Perkins' group, she was able to provide a little bit of funding for us to continue these coffee breaks as well as start a new resource committee, which we're going to talk about a little bit today towards the end of the day as well. So it's really great that there's interest in these breaks as well because yeah, it just shows the need for it, the need for us to connect and talk about these partnership topics. Um, so I guess just diving in, in the past um, we've done introductions usually in the chat, but it's actually really nice when everyone at least pops on for a second and we can see your face and hear your voice and see where you're coming from. So I think we'll do that today. And we'll keep it short, just name, organization, and then any kind of seed partnership that you're part of, or the area that you're in if there isn't one, and maybe you're hopeful to start one there. Um, and maybe I'll just call folks as I see them on the screen because that's easy. And I guess I'll also add, I guess, for my seed partnerships, I help coordinate a couple here in the Willamette or in Oregon, the Willamette Valley Native Plant Partnership and the Coastal Native Seed Partnership. And then I see Patrick at the top of my screen, so we'll start with you.
Great. Thanks, Alexis. Hey, y'all. I'm Patrick Embledge at Mojave Desert Land Trust. We are part of the Mojave Desert Native Plant Partnership, and we have a seed bank at MDLT. Not really a seed partnership, but working with folks through those groups.
Great. Thanks, Patrick. Chris?
Hey everyone, Chris Woolridge at Chicago Botanic Garden, and working on getting the Midwest Native Seed Network up off the ground.
Great. Thanks, Chris. Claire?
Hi, I'm Claire. I work with the Tillamook Estuaries Partnership on the Oregon coast. I work as part of the plant material team growing coastal native plants, and we're part of the Coastal Native Seed Partnership.
Yeah, great. Nice to meet you, Claire. I don't think we've met yet, so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Kate?
I'm Kate Wellens with the Institute for Applied Ecology, and I coordinate the Coastal Native Seed Partnership along the Oregon coast.
Thanks, Kate. Ben?
Hey all, Ben Shreves. I am a native plant biologist for the National Park Service, but I also collaborate with like BLM and Fish and Wildlife and other organizations, collect seed and coordinate it throughout the Northern Great Plains. And I've also worked under Perkins, Dr. Perkins in the Native Plant Initiative before. So nice to meet you all.
Thanks, Ben. Rebecca?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Washington, and I am a Master Gardener with the Carroll County Master Gardeners in Maryland under the University of Maryland. And we started pushing to collect and distribute native seeds maybe 8 years ago. And I came to the 2024 conference and learned a lot. And so I'm just trying to find out how I've been networking with some local people, and we're trying to find out how we can learn more from you guys and maybe create or become part of a local partnership.
Great. Thanks, Rebecca. Denise?
Whoops. Hi, Denise Wilson, Wilson Associates, Inc. I'm a contractor with National Park Service in Colorado, which must make me part of Rocky Mountain Seed Network. And yeah, I'd like to be more involved. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Denise. Justina?
Hi, I'm Justina Dumont. I work for the Forest Service on the Caldwell National Forest in northeastern Washington. And yeah, I'm the native plant coordinator here for the forests, and yeah, I've been working with networks in Washington.
Great. Glad you can join us. Kim?
Hello, everybody. My name is Kim Lessman, and I'm the Seed Bank Manager at Holden Forests and Gardens in Northeast Ohio. We are in the very beginning stages of establishing a Lake Erie Allegheny Plateau regional seed network over here. And then I also sit in and am joining the Midwest Native Seed Network with Chris from Chicago Botanic Garden, who I saw was on this chat too. So nice to see you all.
Great. Thanks, Kim. Keith?
Hi, I'm Keith Frederick. I am from MNL, and I'm a seed producer, but the company also does restoration services and plant production and that sort of thing.
Great, thanks. Let's see. We see Lou next, who I know doesn't have a camera. But do you want to say hi? or should I read your introduction? Okay. Well, Lou is from Lee, Massachusetts, operations manager for NatureWorks Land Care, and a former seed bank manager and propagator for Project Native in Housatonic, Massachusetts. It's great. Cool. Well, thanks, Lou, for being here. Rose.
Good morning. Yes, I'm Rose Highbear. I'm here in the Willamette Valley within an hour of the Institute for Applied Ecology. Very blessed to be so close to you all. I'm Degaton Dene, and which is a band of the Alaskan Athabascan people. However, I've lived in Oregon for most of my life, and I'm the founding director of Elderberry Wisdom Farm, a Native American nonprofit that does workforce development work. And I just want to say that the Institute for Applied Ecology is helping us to form our native plant nursery here. And it's much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited to partner together. Andrea?
Hi, I'm Andrea Mack, and I work for Conservation Blueprint. And I just want to get more involved and learn how I can be participant and contribute. So thank you.
Great, thanks. Pete?
Hello, Pete Berthelsen with Conservation Blueprint. We're a local ecotype wildflower seed company and interested in learning a little bit more.
Great, glad you could be here. Let's see. Tiffany, who I think said she has no video. Hopefully
Hi, everyone. Yeah, this is Tiffany Traverse. I'm up in so-called Canada, so I'm probably the furthest north, maybe. Yeah, it's just really good to be here and just connect with more seed people. So I put a little intro in my in the chat there, but yeah, I also work. We're getting some culturally significant and rare plant seed banks set up here as well in BC. So there's going to be two. It's a partnership through the UBC Botanical Gardens and a few of our Indigenous-led native plant nurseries. Yeah, just working on culturally significant plants of the Secwepemc people, which are my people in the interior. And yeah, just looking at connecting with more folks and seeing if there's some synergies and ways to network around building out our national native seed strategy that we're working on here in Canada.
Yeah, great. Glad you're here. We have a good amount of Canadians that visit or that come to our seed conference, both virtually and in person. So hopefully you can connect with some of those folks, or we can help you connect with some too. Okay, Zachary.
Hi, I'm Zach with Pacific Coast Seeds here, working on different restoration projects all across the West Coast, primarily here in Southern California.
Great, thanks, Zach. Erica.
There you go. Hi, I'm Erica Henlin. I work with Justina on the Colville National Forest. And I am just kind of a fly on the wall today, just listening and learning.
Great. Glad you're here. Jim?
Hi, I'm Jim Pallas. I'm with the Nature Conservancy's Ohio Mitigation Program. So we're not part of an existing seed partnership here in Ohio, but we have a pretty large demand for seed and often run into trouble acquiring it. So very interested in seeing how others are doing it, hear what else is going on, and networking with other people in this realm.
Great. I think I had somebody from Ohio a couple of years ago reach out about a seed partnership in the area. So I wonder if I could find her email. I don't know if you guys are in a similar spot, but
yeah, I don't know. Well, Kim Lessman's on this call. I don't know if that might have been her.
I know, it's like maybe it was me.
Yeah, I'll have to look. Okay, Cindy.
Hey, there I am. Hi, everybody. I'm Cindy Nguyen. I work for the Eco Studies Institute here in Washington State. And I'm the coordinator for the Washington Native Seed Coalition, working on the Washington Native Seed Strategy.
Great, good to see you again. Wait, I just changed the size of my screen, but I think I had Corey next.
Hi, my name is Corey. I am a conservation technician at the San Antonio Botanical Garden. I also manage our rare and endangered seed bank. So I'm just excited to connect with other people and learn all I can. Thanks.
Great. And then Bonnie.
Good morning. I work with the Homer Soil and Water Conservation District up here in Alaska. You guys in the lower 48 are a lot further along than we are, so we try to drop in when we can and learn from those who've gone before us.
Great. And then last but definitely not least, Morgan Frankie.
Hi, I'm Morgan Frankie. I'm also with IAE, and this year I'm going to start taking over some responsibilities for coordinating the Willamette Valley Native Plant Partnership, and then also helping behind the scenes some with the Native Seed Network where we can, and helping take notes for this meeting. So excited to be here.
Okay, and then did I miss anyone? I think Heather just joined us. Heather, we're just doing a quick introduction.
Hello, everybody. My name's Heather Dial. I am part of NRCS's Plant Materials Program, and I'm stationed in Portland, Oregon.
Great. And did I miss anybody? Okay, great. Yeah, so I guess I also just want to add that oh, we generally keep these meetings pretty informal. That was kind of the idea of this, like, the coffee break style of meeting. And I didn't have as much time to think through our discussion or like our topic for this meeting, but I think that's okay because I know there were a lot of suggestions in the form that I sent out. And then I guess also just housekeeping wise, I'm hoping to set up a recurring meeting link, and that will just always be a button on the Coffee Break Hub website. And maybe even a recurring calendar invite. The problem is my list, I either have a list of like 80 people or over 800, and I haven't had time to like think about who just wants these coffee break emails. So that's why we don't really that's why we don't have a recurring calendar invite yet, but hoping to work on some of that stuff before the next meeting in March. So and we've also often hosted a presenter and then had a discussion on a topic. So I think some folks suggested that in the form and then or suggested somebody. And if you have other ideas, reach out to me, but hopefully we'll also have some kind of speaker-led presentations and discussions later this year as well. But just to kind of like get us warmed up and get the ball rolling. Well, first, I think we have a good mix of folks that are part of some sort of partnership or like plant materials development effort, and some that are here to like listen and learn. I guess like if you are part of a more active partnership or getting one started, will you like react? I don't know. I can't find like my reactions, but I guess like a thumbs up or something so we can kind of get a visual of that. If you can figure that out, because I don't see mine. But... Okay. Well, then I might call on some of you folks in particular to maybe, if you're comfortable sharing a recent success or challenge that you've had within your seed partnership, just on any of aspect of it, and then what helped you accomplish that success, or how are you approaching that challenge or problem? Anybody up for sharing any initial thoughts?
I don't mind going first since mine's pretty recent, so I'll share that out. So here in the South Puget Sound area, I coordinate for a lot of our partner agencies, and we're looking to expand that into like this greater South Sound area. So we've had some meetings with our local South Sound partners, and a recent challenge that I've run into is, you know, they were very enthusiastic about like, yeah, that's great. We have all these seed needs that are coming up. I'm like, awesome. Here's a survey. Tell me about what your seed needs are so that we can like let growers know what species we need. And I had one respondent to my survey. So how I will be approaching that problem is it's going to be a lot of one-on-one outreach, because I know these people are interested. It didn't help that, you know, the holidays came in, and I'm sure it got buried in people's emails. So we'll be reaching out, and I'm sure I can get that info. It just might take a little more legwork.
Yeah, we have a lot of experience with trying to figure out demand and surveys. I see Kate smiling because she's dealt with a lot of it. I think maybe that's like one resource we could think about is what makes a flashy survey, or what do you have to offer people to actually fill one out? I think sometimes the short surveys are best, but yeah, Kate.
Yeah, I've had plenty of experience with that too, Cindy. I had, I think, one respondent in 2024 to my survey, and I got 10 this past year. Liz actually gave me the suggestion to offer a gift card to like a gift card drawing your respondent, um, which I still haven't done, I realized this week. So I need to send that out. But maybe that helped a little bit. 10 is still not really super helpful for figuring out what growers should be focusing on, though. So I don't know. Still working on that. Would be happy to brainstorm with you sometime.
Yeah, that could be a great kind of discussion topic, is how to make those surveys more engaging, or one issue I feel like we've had with figuring out demand is how do we ask those questions? You know, is it like a check as many as apply species list? Is it list your top three? Because it's hard to figure out then like how you're going to analyze that data in an easier way. So I know we've tried a couple different types of questions to get at that answer, and it's still been difficult.
Yeah, I feel like the most successful survey that we've set was more of like a checkbox and like pick these species and then put a number in a box as the next question versus like list your top 5 species and poundage. But like the actual checkbox, I feel like gave us better data and got more responses. It still didn't really help us move forward with a field, but it definitely made the best graph. I don't know. Yeah, still refining that process for sure. Because it is challenging to know what people need, um, is one thing, but what is already available and what is available to some people and not to others is kind of hard to parse out in a survey. So.
Yeah, any other success or challenge stories, either recent or maybe a while ago? Yeah, Rebecca?
This is probably really small scale compared to you guys, but so recently we've begun a couple years ago, we started reaching out, teaching a class at one of the universities, not all semester long, but just speaking at one or two classes for one session, and developing a relationship with the professors that were teaching environmental or food security classes. And this year, so as they've been growing their environmental studies and their environmental centers, we've kept in touch. And so I reached out this year. We do several we distribute a lot of seeds, and we collect a lot of seeds, and we grow a lot of seeds in our Master Gardeners group. But the university has also they've reached out and gotten funding. So we are forming a relationship where we're feeding each other. And we've reached out to the other counties saying, we have surplus in such and such. Would you like our surplus? Because some things we have an overabundance of, and other things they might need. So that's the beginning of it. But this thing with McDaniels University and their environmental center is really exciting because at least I'm in charge of our seed committee, and I communicate with the director of their environmental center, and we've identified, we are aware of a few of other smaller groups in the county, but also in the region, that are in a similar goal, and how can we coordinate? And we're exchanging lists of what our inventory is, so we can fill each other's gaps. And also, if one is producing, like if they're focusing on one seed, we'll focus on a different one. And that way we can support each other instead of being spread thin. That's it. Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. I know that's pretty similar, I think, to the mindset behind when we started the Willamette Valley Native Plant Partnership, was trying to bring in some of the current commercial growers and fill in the gaps where they might not be growing a certain species that was in demand, or they were selling out every year. And so to reduce that competition and fill in those gaps. But now we're kind of at a spot with that partnership where the local native seed economy has really grown over the last decade and a half or so, which is amazing. And so we're trying to figure out what our new role is in the valley. And then I guess the challenges we're currently facing with that partnership also include we have an expired MOU. We haven't had a committee meeting or a full partnership meeting in like a year and a half, maybe, because in large part because we haven't had a coordinator. And that really just, I think, demonstrates how important a coordinator is, or at least somebody who's partially dedicated to managing the paperwork side and the meetings and facilitation and all of that. Which is why I'm really glad that we've got some funding through a NIFWIF grant that came through. And so Morgan can help kind of bring that partnership back together. I think a lot of our steering committee has retired. We had a lot of federal folks on there, so they've all kind of retired in the last year or so. Yeah, so it just feels like it's down pretty low right now, and so I guess that's our challenge. And our approach this year will be, yeah, probably some more surveys, probably some meeting, but surveys more around what should we do as a partnership as opposed to like what should we grow. And we do have a draft strategic plan that we can kind of work from. So yeah, but it's still just, it's a lot to coordinate and think about. So any other comments or thoughts on successes or challenges?
I'd like to jump in.
Yeah.
We had a Southern Rockies Seed Network, which got off the ground and ran kind of at a very low level for probably a good 10 years. But always problems with funding. And to be succinct, there was always a greater need than there was seed. And so the members basically hung on to their seed. And they're like, there has to be some kind of a network that either shares the resource or, or pays for the resource through the alliance. And they just had many challenges. And yes, if you don't have the funding, you don't have a coordinator, and the ball is not rolling. Yeah, you can't write grants so that you can get funds. It's a catch-22 situation. And me as a contractor with National Park Service, I've been doing this for a number of years, but I'm in the unenviable position of not knowing whether the government is going to pay me. If I take a crew out to collect seed right now, it could all be on my coin, you know. It's really yeah, I don't know, but we're feeling kind of stuck here in Colorado. As far as seed networks are concerned, there's a Rocky Mountain Alliance, and they have joined forces with Save Seed, so at least they have some more of a structure and support system behind them. But as far as the Southern Rockies, it's not happening, guys, and that's a little alarming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we feel a lot of the just general pressure around all of this work and where it's heading in the future. So yeah. Well, maybe on that note, maybe we'll switch into how we can continue to help each other through resources and sharing our knowledge and things like that. So I think if you saw my any of my emails or forms, that form that was sent out, it included a note about this new partnership resource committee. And this is an idea that came out of talking with South Dakota State, with Laura Perkins, around the coffee break funding, and then maybe developing another committee that would meet on the non-coffee break months to discuss what partnership resources are out there. So this wouldn't be to create the resources. At least this is where my initial thoughts are, and it can definitely shift and stuff. There's not any like specific deliverable or anything. It's just, I guess, just another way to connect a smaller group of us to hopefully move something forward eventually. But what I've thought through so far is, identifying what resources are needed for a long time internally, and a little bit with the Understory Initiative. They're based down in Medford, Oregon, and they coordinate 2 partnerships as well. But we've chatted with them about kind of like a how-to guide, like how to start a seed partnership. But then when I think about all like the partnerships versus the networks and all the different ways you can kind of come together and get structured and organized. I don't think there's like a one size fits all kind of document, but I know that there's something else out there that could describe, the pieces that you could put together to form some sort of partnership. And so we've started to gather some things, mostly strategic action plans, I think, in our Native Seed Network Resource Center. Anyway, so that would be the idea, is thinking through like what do folks need to help them move their partnerships forward or get one established, what is already out there, and what needs to be developed. And then if we find more resources or people send us some more items, Morgan and I can help update them in our Native Seed Network library. And then maybe it would also involve finding some funding or ways to develop these resources. Because I know a lot of us are probably working for nonprofits, and it's hard to do work that we don't have fully funded. And the rest of you and all of us I know are really busy. So that was the idea behind this partnership resource committee. So it would be an hour a month for 6 months this year. And I know a lot of folks replied to the survey and said they were interested. And so I might reach out separately, or if you didn't reply or didn't know about this and you are interested, send me an email and we'll try to get folks together in February. February might be hard with the conference coming up, and also just thinking about everyone's availability and across multiple time zones. So we'll see where it takes us. But if we have to meet in maybe early March, I think that would be okay as well. I think the goal of the first meeting would be before the next coffee break, basically. And I saw a couple chats pop up, but okay, cool. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Rose.
Well, hello, everybody. I just would like to say that this is extremely important, the work that we're doing. And I'm thinking at the moment of the concepts that we extol of reciprocity. We have been working, you know, on the land for a very long period of time. And if you've ever heard the messages from our elders from these tribes here, I'm in Oregon. And so we have shared over time, recorded our elders, and they've talked about how their spiritual philosophy that we give to the land, and in return, the land gives to us. And so what it requires is selfless service to our work. And I just want to encourage each of you who might be, you know, disappointed in the current situation here in America, that you know, better times are coming. It's extremely important that we stick together, that we continue to plan together and support one another. And so what I have been developing a native plant nursery. We're a Native American nonprofit. We have very little experience doing it. The more we learn, the more we understand how much we don't know. And so our partnership with IAE has been extremely important to us, very valuable, the information that's been given. There are a lot of things that we need to talk about, such as climate migration, because for a while we really didn't believe in transferring plants from another ecosystem. And now we discover that here in Salem, Oregon, our ecosystem in 60 years is going to be similar to that of Redding, California. So there are all these climate issues that we need to be on top of. And I think this team that is developing the seed networks is some of the most important work that we're doing. And so I just want to encourage all of you to, you know, I'm so sorry that people are disappointed in the way things are. As a Native American, I've had a long life of disappointments, and I've learned to accept disappointment. It's a philosophical perspective that I have that allows me to make it through hardship. And so, you know, we are going through hard times, but it is also going to strengthen our resilience. So here's to all of you. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Yeah, thanks, Rose. Yes, that's a wonderful message and great reminder and perspective. And we're very excited to be working with you as well. And we're glad we're so close to one another. And I'm also so glad that like so many people filled out the form. I mean, I think there was going on close to 40, and I know we don't have that many people that ended up joining us, but they opened the email and filled out the survey. And as we know, that's hard to do for folks. So, and then I feel like this is the most we've ever had in this one of these meetings. So glad you're here. And I think talking about climate change and how we're trying to address that within our partnerships and within our general work could be a really great topic coming up. So I'll keep that in mind as well. Let's see what the next slide is. So here, so this is just what folks responded in the newsletter, or the responses from the newsletter in the survey as to resources they're interested in. So they mentioned IAE documents. So I think all of our various plans or species selection, you know, questionnaires or something, or how we select species. The Northeast Seed Network and the Orange County Seed Partnership, which are both partnerships that Matt Garambone coordinates out of the East Coast. And then Carolyn, who's not here today, mentioned Nevada Forum documents, and I'm not sure what those are, but I'll follow up with her on that. Strategy documents, grower contract examples, and federal award / contract examples. So I think that's a good start to some resources, but I guess it's kind of my last slide and last discussion topic. it's hopeful to kind of talk through some of these questions, like what resources have helped you with your partnership development? What has your partnership developed? What's missing? Like, what have you looked for, haven't been able to find information about? And yeah, any suggestions for the committee that we just talked about as well. Carolyn might be talking about notes from the Nevada Native Seed Forum. What were their partnership shares updates? Cool. Was that something relatively recent? Do you know? Yearly. Cool. Yeah. Well, any thoughts? What about folks that are interested in, like, yeah, Justina?
Hey, well, I was putting it in the chat, but one thing that has really helped coordinating is just using seed zones. So if there was a way for, I don't know if anyone else has been using seed zones or the ones that, thanks Ben for putting that in there. But that's just a great way to get everyone on the same page and to allow people to kind of move in and out of, hey, I provided seed, and already before talking to anybody, 18 people know that they can use it, kind of a thing. So that's what I would recommend.
Do people, oh yeah, Ben, go ahead.
I was kind of going off all the prompts we've had so far. I'm definitely more from the collector side of things. And I think one of the, kind of a story anecdotally, with like through Native Plant Initiative, they had contracts to do collections and public lands in the western, like South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska. And then we had it's a 6 to 8 hour drive just for them to get started, I guess is what I'm saying. And so there's times where we would show up and scout a population of thousands of like pea plants, the one that's come to my mind. Then come back a month later with the intention to collect that seed, but there had been no rain before, the flowering process. There'd been no rain during the flowering process, and so when we got back there's just no fruits whatsoever. And so, kind of the best laid plans, you have to pivot. So one thing that really worked well for that crew this year was that I actually am living in the same area now, so I can kind of be like a forward scout. And so I think in terms of like some of these partnerships, a lot of what we talked about is more like acquisition, yada yada yada. But a lot of us are botanists. A lot of us know these plants, and so if there's ways you can actually connect to the collectors in your region and help kind of be a forward scout. I think that's one thing that's really missing is that to collect these seeds you have to be there in person, but you can't be everywhere at once. So you have eyes everywhere. They can tell you what's ready when, or help at least figure that out. I think that's something that's kind of sorely missing, honestly. That's all.
Yeah, definitely. I know with our coastal partnership, I know Kate and I have worked with some of those partners to help us with scouting or even some of the extra collecting, since we go like from the north, it covers the whole coast basically. And we worked with Seed Zones to develop that geographic scope, and same with the Willamette Valley group. They decided to use the whole Willamette Valley, which is a level 3 ecoregion, as our seed transfer zone. Some folks were a little hesitant to have like seed from the south end near Eugene get mixed with seed closer up to Portland, but I think for now, we settled on the whole valley, and especially now, yeah, as Rose mentioned with climate change, like I think we might even be starting to go down to the next valley if we get a plan put together. Yeah, and Denise mentions native plant societies in the area as a good resource. And I also think, going back to what Ben was saying about collecting, I think one thing I talk about with seed partnerships is like setting people's expectations at the start of plant materials development and how long it takes, because there are a lot of botanists, but there's also wildlife biologists in these groups, and restoration ecologists, and people are thinking about other things besides the plants. And I had to learn all the intricacies of seed collection when I first started. I had no idea. Like, I thought you just looked for the plant and collected it, but it's so much more than that. And then if you can't get enough seed one season, you can't start the field. So I think that's an aspect that sometimes gets we look over it because we're thinking about these like structures and committees and stuff. But yeah, that's a good point too. Just the logistics of trying to increase seed. It's difficult. Oh yes, Rebecca, good question. is there a NSN chat site or directory where we might ask questions for advice, share success stories, etc.? Yeah, let me actually change screens. If I do, I'll just stop sharing and then reshare. But yes, we have all of that. We have a lot of resources on the Native Seed Network, which is what Liz really helped us develop and well, redevelop this website. And so up here in the top menu, let's see, we've got the Resource Center here, which has, let's see, what is the Resource Center? Of course, now it probably won't load, but there are all sorts of sample strategic plans, contracts, seed mix calculators in here. Oh, that's kind of a bummer. It's not loading. Maybe, okay. Yeah, and so a lot of this also, the Understory Initiative down in Medford, we partner with them so much, and they were really nice to share a lot of their library with us. And so I think we have a lot of documents from them, but this doesn't look like, okay, well, it's there. Hopefully it loads better for you. But there's also this community forum, which we've been really trying to get active and haven't really had much, not very many people have used it because I don't think they really know it exists. But the idea behind this is a place to ask questions like in between these meetings and have more discussion. There's a whole seed partnership tab here. You do have to register, but it's just email and a password. And then you can add posts to this. So we would love to get this going and just be more active in general with this piece of it. And then let me go back to the resource library though and see. I think it's just kind of weird on this computer, I guess. So.
Oh, Cindy, so you said you've had issues with registering? That's
Oh.
unfortunate. So we should look into that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can email you more about what went on with that later.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be great. Yeah, because if other people try to register and you have an issue with it, let us know because maybe that's been some of the holdup. And then we have the Seed Partnership Hub also on the site. And the starting a seed partnership, I think, is pretty light. It's really just these sample strategic plans. Yeah, from IAE. And I know that we could add a lot more out onto this too. I think Liz had a lot of focus on the Find Seed tool and the Resource Center, and we're really starting to develop this Seed Partnership Hub a little better. And then for those that might not have known, we also have the Seed Partnership Directory, which does have a pretty decent list, I hope, of seed partnerships out there. And so, yeah, we have a lot in Oregon. And then a lot in the Southwest and Southern California. Yeah, so you could also search here if you look at this and there's not your seed partnership's not on here, please let us know also and we can add it there. Stop sharing again and go back to this. I think just have a few more, well, I just have one more slide, but I'd love to hear more from folks about what other types of resource or information even. Yeah, Chris.
Thanks, Alexis. I had to Google how to raise my hand. Gosh, but one thing that we've got our first for the Midwest Native Seed Network. We have our first general meeting next month. We're super excited about it. It's the Midwest from Ohio to Nebraska. It was kind of like a fuzzy definition. Whoever wants to be involved, we're hoping to create a big tent. We do see it as being good for like transfer of knowledge and information across the whole region, and hopefully facilitating seed exchange and working on a lot of these issues together. working to increase capacity around native seed and plants. With that kind of context, we're not sure how like formal things should be. Like I said, we're having our first meeting next month. But in terms of like in terms of resources, like kind of like a definition of what membership means in the network, and like kind of like guidelines that people follow in like, meeting interactions, and, ethical seed collection, stuff like that. Like, is that something that the network tries to ask of folks in joining, and then, respectful, like I said, kind of interactions and meetings and stuff like that, and recognizing you know, kind of citations of knowledge and proprietary information and stuff like that. And just wondering if people have had experience putting some of that kind of stuff together. If not, that might be kind of, well, I think that is some topics kind of ripe for exploration with the group, hopefully. Okay, some food for thought. I don't know if anyone has anything to comment on now.
I could jump in quick in terms of like protocol and developing that, especially in terms of collection. I would recommend, I'll put in the chat real quick. The BLM has been working on providing like a standardized protocol, like a nationwide protocol called the Seeds of Success Protocol. That not everyone utilizes. I believe the Forest Service uses like some similar, but not quite the exact same. And so that's what I'm saying is like you could follow them exactly, but it's pretty intense, and there's a lot that they request in terms of utilizing the protocol. But you could use it as kind of like a guiding line.
Yeah.
If you go to that website, they have the entire technical protocol there, so you can just kind of use that in terms of like, especially when it comes to sustainable collection, stuff like that. A lot of that is spelled out in that document.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thanks, Ben.
Yeah. Sure.
We, in terms of like a kickoff meeting for our coastal partnership, we asked a lot of those questions about membership. What's a member versus a partner? What's the scope? What's our habitat type? And put that all into an operations plan that then we use as a basis to start a strategic plan. But I'd be happy to share that like agenda and kind of like flow that we did, and some of the conversation that we had. The discussion about what's a partner versus a member was longer and more complicated than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, it's interesting, some of these like other little pieces that pop up too.
Yeah, like how formal does it need to be? And I guess it's like kind of evolving and stuff, but yeah, something we're thinking about.
Yeah, Kate.
And I was just thinking about the seed collection piece and the Willamette Valley Native Partnership, which I used to coordinate. I know has a whole lot of guidelines in their original strategic plan that they came up with as a partnership about like seed collection and then what goes into seed fields. So that stuff was sort of agreed upon as a whole partnership at the beginning of the partnership, where like fields can only be started from at least 15 different wild accessions from various counties and that sort of thing. So there were a lot of discussions with the committee early on to establish those guidelines for that partnership. It is a pretty like defined area though, the Willamette Valley in Oregon, so that makes it a little bit easier maybe.
And then, oh, sorry, amazing. And then to tag on to that, like Kate was saying too, it is an evolving thing because there have been certain species where we've wanted to go into production for them, like Pyracoma racemosa, for example, here, where there's just not 15 collectible populations out there in the Willamette Valley. And so we have then had to go through and get approval from like steering committee, I think, not the whole general population, but a subset of folks to be like, is this acceptable? Do we want to start a field of it? Thing, because it was something that's really wanted by a lot of our partners, but is a really difficult one to collect and then produce. So it was something like that too.
Coming from a small, hi, coming from a small group without acres and acres, one of the things that our group has been doing is we all have decentralized, we don't have acres and acres of public shared land. So we all have decentralized home gardens, which might be up to an acre. But in order to keep a strong genetic pool, we've consciously been taking from our different gardens and pulling the seeds and mixing and exchanging plants, and then even integrating with other counties, not other states yet, but other counties, so that we're not getting too inbred. And we're trying to be very conscious about that. And we are trying that part about hard to find 15 different groups of populations. Yeah, there are some maybe threatened seeds that we're trying to focus on if we can increase the population, but finding sources of different groups. So we do a lot of hiking and we do a lot of surveying of members. And whenever we have public classes, we also put out a plea if anybody has anything on their property, or farms, local farms, if they're willing to let us trek around. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. We have 5 minutes left. I just have a couple of reminders, but before I guess we go to that, I guess just in terms of like the committee focus or what resources you wish you could find, or just a topic you wish you could find more information on, like species selection or grower contracts or something. Anything that hasn't been mentioned, or does anyone want to emphasize something that has been mentioned that they would like that? I
think something that I would like to see more information on, especially as we kind of expand out of like our core group of agencies we work for, is kind of like examples of MOUs or other cooperative agreements for either collecting on each other's properties, or if we amplify those seeds so that they can go out on other people's properties besides where they were collected from. That's been an issue for certain agencies in the past, where they're not able to share out their seeds because they didn't have that agreement in place. So some more information on more examples about how to set those up, or ways that they've been set up in other places.
Yeah, that's a good one. And Kim mentioned grower contracts and contract growing information. And Kate mentions more resources for using seed and restoration for the practitioners in the partnership. So also being a resource for the types of folks in your partnership. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Just one really quick thing. This goes back to the last comment about those agreements with other. I have had some success and some difficulty with. There are other sanctuary, like land sanctuaries and protected areas, and some of them are private foundations, and some of them, occasionally you'll get a staff member that who's ever the horticulturalist or the grower that is in support of the idea and will share or exchange seed resources. But most often I'm getting people, when I do approach people about, can we collect a small portion of seeds, and mostly they're like, no, you can't touch anything on this property. You can't take anything from this property. And those are, because they're groomed and have less weed competition, they are like great sources for seeds. But yeah, I find them to be very, well, let me not generalize. No, that's just been the few that I've contacted. So yeah, so some are very favorable to that idea, but others, it's taking some selling. There's a lot of territory protection, and to try to get it's taking some selling. So I'll second that. And yeah, and if I come across anything positive, I'll be willing to share it. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Just a couple final or not, yeah, just a couple reminders. Our coffee break schedule for the rest of the year. So always at Thursday, on a Thursday, at 10 a.m. Pacific or 1 p.m. Eastern. I think they're generally the third Thursday, but sometimes they're almost the fourth or the second. Anyway, this list is also on the website. And then the 2026 National Native Seed Conference will be virtual. We have the program available online, or we have the like kind of high level program, but we have the more detailed program available and just need to add it to the website. But it's within the Whova app. So if you've already registered, you should be able to see the agenda now and also start interacting on the community boards. Our regular registration rate ends at the end of this month, and we do have a discount ticket available. And there's some information about that on the website. And then we do have some poster space available, is what we're calling it. It's like we can have 10 PDF uploads, and we thought we would kind of make a virtual poster setup, and also thought we might focus that on seed partnerships. So if you're interested, what we're telling other folks, or what we've decided so far, is basically create 5 slides with your information and then make that a PDF, and we'll upload it, and then people can view it throughout the conference on the app. So if you're interested, shoot me and Morgan an email. And that's it. Hope to see you all in March. And if you're interested in that resource committee, you'll hear from me soon as well. And if you have any other questions or thoughts, just send me an email.
Thank you.
And thanks. And
Cool.
have a
Thanks,
great
all.
end of the
Thank
week.
you very much.
Thanks, Alexis.
Bye.
See y'all.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Alexis, really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I did try to register through the NSN website, and then it did send me a registration link. But when I click on the link via my email, it just takes me to the Institute for Applied Ecology homepage, and that's it. So that's kind of where
That's
it
annoying.
breaks.
Okay.
That's my same issue.
So yeah,
Yeah,
so that's the issue.
Also just replicated that.
Okay. So it kind of gets stuck in a loop or something, or just doesn't go back to the
Well,
right
the email
spot.
says click on this link basically to activate your user, and then it says after you activate it, you'll see another email with your login information. But I can't activate it, so I don't get that login information, basically.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the activate link isn't working.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We'll reach out to our web designers and see if we can figure that out.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks again, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.